We're going to talk about Raven Symoné. So Raven Symoné, the show That's So Raven. Did you watch that show growing up?
Yeah, That's So Raven is definitely more of an old Zoomer Kino.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was really into the show. Yeah. The Zoomers, at least of my age range, I think definitely watched that show.
It came when I was a teen.
Yeah, I was like, what, I don't know, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, so
must have been. So she has this spin-off reboot version of the show called Raven's Home, and she talked about how when this show was being conceived and as it's developed, it's at its 6th season, right? Disney has prompted her to incorporate her real life sexual identity into the show, where she is portraying a divorcee raising kids.
My favorite part is that they just assume she wants to.
Yeah, they just assume, like, we're gonna make Raven into a lesbian in the show, right?
Let's read the quote. She says, I think Disney wanted her to be queer in the beginning, and I just didn't feel comfortable doing that, she noted. Now remember, this actress is both non-binary and married to a woman.
I'm pretty sure she doesn't mean queer in the beginning of the first show.
No, but
in the reboot, they wanted to incorporate her new sexual orientation.
They were like, do you want Raven to be gay? I said, why? And they said, because you are. I said, bad reason. That's a bad reason. Yes, it is an absolutely stupid, unintelligent, lowest IQ reason.
In the original series, she did openly have interest in guys in the show. So you can't say that she's just suddenly a lesbian. At the very least, then you would just force her to be attracted to women in the show suddenly when that wasn't part of the original character.
This happens in TV all the time. You get into season 6 and a character that never showed any hint of being a different sexuality just suddenly is like, I am. And they never, it's just, and that to me, it's like
mostly like women who are just like suddenly bisexual.
Yes. And here's the thing. I used to think it was just bad writing, but I really do believe that it's beyond just being bad writing. It's literally supposed to just like muddy the waters into thinking that that's just the way the world is, that you just suddenly change. Like, your preferences are set very, very early on in life. And then suddenly, even though like, it's just bad storytelling because like, no hint, no prolonged looks, no quirky conversations with somebody of the same sex. All that's fine if you don't want to reveal it till later, but you have to at least throw those hints in there. Otherwise, it's just bad storytelling.
Well, look, Brett, it's not bad storytelling. It's not storytelling at all. Yeah. What they are trying to do by slowly, attempting to convince her to incorporate this into her character is just use shock value to bring in more viewership. When really that's not needed, and it compromises the original appeal of the show.
Disney can feel all the articles being written, all of the stunning and brave articles being written.
Yeah. Not even that, actors play people who they're not.
No, not anymore. No, you're not. No, that's bad now. You're not allowed to play things that you're not anymore.
First, they come now with the assumption that you have to incorporate your real identity into the character you're playing, which is why when they chose the new Little Mermaid, Ariel, they were just from the jump assuming that she should keep her dreads in her hair while playing this character. She didn't push back on it, but it wasn't her idea.
That actress, Halle Bailey, is going to play some like Wall Street trader that was like, she's like only the second female on Wall Street or something, and the lady like apparently got some article written about her in like 2018, and like everyone in the industry like on Wall Street hated her because I guess she's shown a light on the sexism of Wall Street. So like
what?
Yeah, she's like
this is based on a real
person that's still alive.
Who does she look like? This person?
Apparently she looks a little bit like this person, but the point is she's still alive. The lady's like young, like in her 30s or 40s or something.
Dude, what?
Like, we used to talk about, I was like, why are they making a Madonna biopic? She's not dead yet. Now they're like, the person, like they're not in their 20s anymore. Time to make the biopic.
I mean, I want Leonardo DiCaprio to make the FTX movie and he just get a bunch of goofy hair and he's like, I'm going to scam them all.
Who can play the FTX girl in the FTX biopic?
Was she hot?
I don't know.
No. Oh my gosh, no.
Then you have to find somebody who can play ugly. There are actresses that can actually
can make them ugly.
Well, you can.
Jonah Hill.
No.
To play the girl?
No.
There was I wish I had gotten some time to think of this. There's a couple of examples that I can't think of off the top of my head where they actually have to go out of their way to make them look less attractive than they actually are. And I actually have a lot of respect for the women who are like, yes, I will play
Charlize
this.
Theron all the time.
Maybe. I mean, she might be too old for that.
One of her Oscar-winning performances, like she was banged up.
One of the examples, I might even think it was like something Emmanuel Shrieky was in, where she's like, this woman is just gorgeous, and they have something that she was in, I can't remember what it was, and she's like, looks very, maybe not ugly, but very plain when she's not a plain-looking woman. So,
yeah, they can do certain things to change an actress's appearance, but I don't know if anything could do that FTX girl justice.
Yeah.
That poor
I don't
girl's
think that would be
getting
possible.
clowned on by the entire universe.
Yeah.
Okay, so
sorry, we're
so
getting off topic.
So you watched the show.
Yeah. So I want to read these other quotes from Raven Symoné. She said, Raven Baxter never exhibited any type of sexual identity situation in the priors. I'm not being myself on this show. I'm being a character. Quite a novel concept.
That is
She
shocking.
said, Raven
Shocking,
Baxter is not gay, no matter what the first 4 seasons looks like, with me and Chelsea sleeping in the same room and us raising a family together. That's not the case. We are friends who sleep in the same room.
That's even more impressive that she held to her guns, because it would be so easy to make that story to them. They're like, it's not a leap. Now, here's the other thing. This is what Tumblr and shipping ruined our story. You are not allowed to have a best friend of the same sex anymore in Hollywood. If you have a best friend, you're gay. That's what they believe. They believe that if you have a best friend and you're close and you give each other hugs and you get along, that just means you secretly want to get together and do each other. They're maladjusted, and they don't understand actual human connection.
It's girl friendships, but I think it's especially prevalent with guy friendships in media.
That's
God.
That's the same normalization that they're doing with children in the first topic, where they're like, you're not allowed to just be bros
chipping
anymore.
away at anyone's perception of like platonic male friendship.
Yeah, you can't have it. Because they've already done it to women.
Yeah.
They've already done this to women over the last 25 years, where every woman suddenly is just like, on every show, it's like, well, she's a bisexual. How did you not know that?
Just that's the default.
Now it's men. Now it's like, well, he's like, yeah, sure. They were best buds for 20 years, but secretly they wanted to do each other. That's what it was.
Yeah, it really cheapens the whole depth of characters.
Yeah.
And they can't have a connection that's not sexual. The shippers are really the freaking worst.
Truly.
Like, get a life.
Maladjusted, no concept of reality, and extremely
The Marvel
deviant.
shippers are some of the worst
yeah.
because, like, I was going off about this before, but, like, when they started shipping Wanda with, or like Scarlet Witch with, who was it? Wonder Man, the new Wonder Man character, just because they race swapped Wonder Man in this new series to from a white man to a black man, they started making it in this weird like porn storyline that it was so creepy, and all of these tweets, they're just openly creeping on like people who are actually real human beings that can read these posts.
Did you who is it? Markiplier and what's his name? The other guy. They always talked about those two, and even though they were just friends.
Egoraptor?
Yeah, maybe. But the other thing is like,
Jacksepticeye? I don't know.
yeah, that might have been it. But it's like there is no middle ground for anyone anymore. You just and it's like it speaks to either their degeneracy or their lack of actual sexual. Like they've never actually been had a sexual relationship or understand how it works when you're intimate with someone.
It's just like having this parasocial connection, the sense that you know how someone is in private when you just don't. Like, I know the Larry shippers in the One Direction fandom were some of the worst offenders. They were convicted. They would literally die for like thinking that Harry Styles and Louis Tomlinson were in a relationship throughout the existence of One Direction. Like, if you had held to a gun to their head and asked them like, are Harry and Louis together, yes or no, they would die and say yes. And like, I'm genuinely.
And I'm sitting back and thinking of like all the great shows with like, I watched episodes of House this weekend. House and Wilson are best friends. almost to Wilson's detriment, because House is such an awful human being and takes advantage of Wilson's kindness at every single turn. And what it is it shows Wilson's dedication to a friend who he knows is troubled, but also it shows you how deep a bond can go even when it's clearly not healthy. But you wouldn't be allowed to do that anymore.
There's no complexity.
No.
to
It also makes me think of when like they had the Pride post in Nintendo posted Luigi and Mario together, and everyone's like, dude, those dudes are brothers.
Sorry, go ahead.
And it's reflected right now with the decision or the suggestion, let's say, to make Raven's character gay. It's like, hey, you're gay, and thus you understand no other range of emotion. You're
nothing else other than that.
Correct. Thus, play yourself on TV.
And it's designed to take things from the past and then change it to make it in the modern image. Meaning, like, you can't have something that existed in 2007 because that was for straight, cis, hetero, this or that, right?
How dare we?
You're not allowed to have that anymore because inclusion.
People have criticized the new Wednesday series on Netflix for queer baiting. I didn't watch the first episode of it, but it showed this intro. It's like using the idea that like this main character is gay in order to draw more viewers from LGBT
and then
audiences.
It's barely in it at all.
And then it's like, yeah, not really in the series. So like I saw this freeze frame from one of the episodes where they like cross out the day in Wednesday and then replace it with the word gay.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they did that, because I haven't seen anything about the plot line including anything about Wednesday being gay, and it's played by Jenna Ortega. I haven't seen anything about that, but
is that out yet?
Yeah, it's out now. It's getting backlash for that though.
I'm gonna point to one comment from Keenan Smith. I just want to push back on a little bit because he's right about one thing. He says Gregory House is also a great friend because when he does show how much he cares, it's unexpected and truly heartfelt, and it's usually a pretty freaking big deal that no one else can do. There's a really good example of this that a lot of people don't pick up on. In one of the seasons, and I know this is a bit of an aside, but Wilson gets together with like his ex-wife, and they start dating again. And they start falling back into the same habits where like she kind of walks all over him and he doesn't stick up for himself. So what House does is like he puts the milk from the inside of the refrigerator to the door because he knows that Wilson hates that. But he blamed so that she'll get blamed for it, causing them to fight so that he can help Wilson stick up for himself.
Oh my God.
And it's a very underhanded and devious thing to do. But yes, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about you can be dudes and be friends. Mm-hmm. You don't have to just be, I'm close to you, therefore we must like each other romantically.
And also, like, relationships like that exist in nature. And probably everyone at some point has had a friend that they can't inexplicably not explain why they like him, and yet they do.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who that friend is, it's you. And, there's different shows and different archetypes of narrative to show different stories. But the shame of today's day and age is that everything must be pigeonholed through the eye of progressivism.
Mm-hmm. And there's no, unfortunately, I don't think there's much change. Speaking of which, did you have any more thoughts? Because you watch the show, so you might have more insight to it than me.
I do appreciate just that Raven-Symoné's trying to protect the female friendship that was portrayed on that show.
I was shocked. I was legitimately shocked at such a reasonable response.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also like not the same celebrity narcissism that we normally see where I have to insert my real identity into every role that I take. It has to reflect me.
Maybe because she's more established?
I think it's because she has the power to leverage over this reboot. It's really all about her and her star power. They can't make a Raven's Home without Raven-Symoné.
Yeah.
So she has the freedom to do whatever she wants with the character.
Yeah. Also, she might feel more of a, if you actually built that character up from nothing, you feel an ownership, you feel a protective nature over that character. That's somebody who's just, like I always talk about, when these writers come in and they change comic book characters, it's because they don't feel any particular connection to it because they've just been dropped into this project haphazardly. Whereas somebody who spent more time on it has devoted more of their attention, more of their resources, more of their energy to it, would feel a certain level of protection over what it was before. Whereas now it's not about what it was before, it's about what it can do for me now. And she feels that she wants to protect both what it was before and what it will be later on.
Yeah, so. That's how I feel about the iCarly reboot, that they updated iCarly to be adult appropriate, and then they replaced Jeanette McCurdy's sidekick character with a new person who no one was introduced to prior. And it was only because Jeanette McCurdy was straight up like not invited to this project, and later, revealed that the creator of the show was an abusive psychopath.
Does anything ever happen to him?
It's just completely ignoring the context of like why this show was special to people. It was because they were ignorant of the ugliness that was behind the making of it.
Did anything ever happen to Dan Schneider? Still around?
Did anything happen to him? Well, I mean, he hasn't been held to account legally for anything.
I imagine nothing will.
But I bet he got told that he was a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Way to go, everyone.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.